Dino Ball,
Do you know ball?
Dino Ball,
Do you know ball?
Dino Ball.
Do you know ball? Welcome, Jedis and Wookiees, to a special May the 4th Do You Know Ball podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Deej,
I'm Pat.
and we got episode 20, I believe, right?
It's episode 20.
Episode
We've hit
20.
that
We've reached
milestone.
reached the big 2-0 milestone. We have really fun topics today. I think these are going to be some of the more interesting topics that we've done in a while, but I want to start off with something fun. It is May the 4th. Happy Star Wars Day to everyone that is currently watching. I just want to address something as a Yankee fan. Today in Yankee Stadium, on the scoreboard, for Juan Soto, they put Juan Solo and they photoshopped his head onto Juan Soto's body. I meant on Han Solo's body. It was the greatest thing of all time. Any Star Wars fan, little fun shenanigans in the field. They played the Tigers. Every Tigers player, they put instead of their pictures on the scoreboard, they put pictures of stormtroopers. It's incredible. Yankee Stadium, they're having a fun day today. And also, they let a couple Star Wars characters on the field today. You got some Wookiees, you got Chewbacca, you got Kylo Ren, you got the Mandalorian, Grogu. They're letting all these characters on the field today pre-game. It was fun. It's a fun scene. If you don't celebrate May the 4th, what is wrong with you? Even if you're not a Star Wars fan, it's just so much fun. But I just want to get into it. Anyone that celebrates it, anyone that's a Star Wars nerd like myself, enjoy your day. Go battle with some lightsabers. May the 4th be with you. We're going to get on to our first real topic. And Zach, go right for it.
Okay, I got you guys. So we're going to start off with the Los Angeles Clippers. Now, they just got eliminated from the playoffs. They just lost game 6 to the Mavericks. Luka and Kyrie are moving on, but that's not really what I want to highlight. When it comes to the Clippers and and how everything's run over there, I want to know what's exactly next. What lies ahead for this team in the future? Now, we could go back all the way to the beginning of the PG and Kawhi era. 2020 blew a 3-1 lead to the series to the Nuggets in the bubble. 2021 lost to the Suns in the Western Conference Finals. 2022 they missed the playoffs. 2023 they were out in the first round, and then 2024 they repeated that same thing and were faced with being out in the first round. Now, James Harden, the guy they brought in, guy they added to the team to actually give them the three superstars they needed, give them a playmaker to get all their other role players involved. He has a player option, and along with him, PG has a player option as well. So they're both good.
I was actually only Paul George has a player option.
Oh, okay.
Sorry if I did not make that as clear on the doc, but only Paul George has a player option. James Harden's a free agent after this year. Paul George can be if he opts out.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. James Harden is a free agent. Paul George has a player option. I don't know if he's going to stay. I think he might opt out. But at the same time, there's not, even if he does elect to stay, there hasn't been much to go off of. I mean, they've been here for what, about like 5 years now? Him and Kawhi. Kawhi's been hurt like crazy. Paul George has been hurt like crazy. They haven't really been able to get over that hump. And then once they do make the playoffs, I mean, this year they're supposed to have, it's supposed to be a different year, it's supposed to be a different season. They're supposed to have James Harden, Kawhi, and Paul George, and so much depth that you would never really expect them to, you wouldn't expect them to get out in the first round. I mean, you'd expect them to move on farther than they did, and they didn't, and they failed to do so. Kawhi got hurt again and was out for the rest of the series. I mean, it's sad to see with Kawhi because you want him to play. You know how electric he could be, especially in the postseason, but
Mhm.
didn't happen. Um, and just a lot of other things with this team. Like they had the depth, they had the star power. It's weird to see them out in the first round and struggling against the Mavs, which the Mavs are a good team. They have a little bit of depth, but really it's kind of Kyrie and Luca that really carry the team and lift them up. So I wouldn't have expected them to struggle with them, let alone lose to them in the first round, but they did because anything can happen in the playoffs. Mavs
Mhm.
got hot, Mavs moved on. Mavs will now play OKC, I'm pretty sure. And
Yeah.
that should be a fun series. But again, what's next for the Clippers? I'll turn it over to you to Matt.
Yeah. I don't know what's next for the Clippers personally. I think that the West and the NBA as a whole has been taken over not so much by the big three ideology. So the big three method is no longer working as we've seen these young teams kind of take over and rise to the top, especially in the Western Conference. So I think that's the route that teams like the Clippers and let's say the Lakers need to go down, but they're not going to, right? That's the issue here. The Clippers, you can argue, have made one of the worst trades potentially in recent memory, trading Shea Gilgis and all those picks for Paul George. And as long as Paul George is on the Clippers, you can't say that the Clippers lost the trade because he brought in Kawhi with him. However, it's looking like the Sixers are probably going to swoop Paul George away from the Clippers because they're unwilling to offer PG a max contract, but Philly is more than willing to do so to pair him with Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid. I think that would be a perfect fit for the Sixers. I think that's where patience from Joel Embiid's part really pays off because he can finally play next to another star close to his caliber. I know he had Jimmy back in the day, but it's been a while since he's played with someone like that. I'm not going to even count James Harden. So I think that's what the Clippers need to do, but they don't have assets, right? It's like a situation that the Nets are in, right? You can't really tank because you don't really own your picks. The Thunder own like half, if not the majority of your draft capital. So I don't know what's going to happen with the Clippers. I think one way or another, they will probably find a way to bring back Paul George. I think they'll find a way to bring back James Harden. I don't think many teams are going to be calling on James Harden. You still have Kawhi. You still have Russell Westbrook. So it really just kind of comes down to can they regroup? Can they stay healthy? And I think if they are healthy, maybe they'll make some noise, but I don't think so. I think that the younger teams, the Nuggets, Timberwolves, Thunder, etc., those are going to be the teams that'll reign superior in the Western Conference for years to come.
Indeed, indeed. Did you get it? You got the Suns topic.
Oh, fun. Okay, cool. All right, going on to the next topic. Last podcast, we talked a little bit about the Phoenix Suns getting swept. It was a fun time to talk about. But now we need to talk about what comes after that. Okay. So as of right now, the Phoenix Suns are kind of a train wreck. Okay. Matt Ishbia, the owner of the team, went and talked to press and gave his whole spiel about the end of the season and what's to come and basically doing what an owner should do and not tell the truth and be like, yeah, we're screwed. No, he calmed the fans down. He's like, we're in a great position. He couldn't be more wrong. But let me just kind of tell you the Suns' plan going forward. The Suns plan to shop the number 22 overall selection and their 2031 first round pick in trade talks this offseason. However, because of the new CBA, that pick does not become eligible until draft night to trade. Now, Matt Ishbia, right? He said that he views these draft picks as assets for established players instead of trying to develop young talent. Okay. And his exact quote, if fans like to look in the future and say, hey, I really like that 2031 draft pick because maybe that seventh grader is going to be really good and we're going to draft them and one day he's going to be a player, you ain't going to like the Phoenix Suns because we're going to say draft picks are to get great players. Now, I understand where he's coming from. You can gamble the dice and draft up a young guy and hope he's good as opposed to just dealing the pick for established talent. But the problem is that the Suns don't have assets. Trading all of your assets immediately is not smart because flexibility is the best option you can have in this league. That is the number one asset to have. The Suns, if you go out and you trade, which could quite possibly be the most valuable draft pick on the market in the 2031 pick, you better get someone good, right? It all just comes down to what their future holds with Kevin Durant, if he really wants to stay, if Booker wants to stay, if Bradley Beal wants to stay, who I think he's kind of forced to at this point because of his no trade clause. It comes down to all that. So the point is, I don't know. I don't really agree with this direction that the Suns are going in. However, they bought in. Literally, they went all in. So you kind of have to double down on this strategy, or else it's a massive failure.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I agree with what you said. But the Suns have a lot to think about, lot to look forward to in the off season, lot to figure out what to do with, what to deal with. Um, you know, it does revolve around a lot. Like if you, like you said, trading that first round pick in the 2031 draft, you better get someone good. It better happen. Otherwise, it's going to be a waste. And then you really got nothing. If you trade that and you don't get anybody good, you really got nothing to lean back on.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's all about figuring out what they got with the team currently and then assessing what to do after that aftermath. You know, if they keep, obviously you said Bradley Beal's probably going to be forced to stay because of his no trade clause. They keep Booker on, if they keep KD on, and if they build around the team that they have, if they get those options down and locked down, then they could look outwards and try to maybe trade that 2031 first round pick. But if not, they just hold on to it and they use it for either future trade options, or they just keep it and they hope for the best when the draft comes around. So
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of a pretty good take on the Suns. But we're going to move on to the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, as expected, the Los Angeles Lakers fired Darvin Ham, and it's not a surprise. We all kind of saw this coming after their loss to the Nuggets this year. You know, he was kind of skating on thin ice. This year was the final blow. In 2 seasons with Ham as their head coach, the Lakers went 90 and 74, with a Western Conference Finals berth, two play-in victories, and an in-season title. Even though that, that was pretty special in its own
Yeah.
light, but
Mm-hmm.
the real goal is to win an NBA championship. The Lakers, obviously, as I stated before, lost 5 games to the Denver Nuggets in the opening round. But I guess news for Darvin Ham is the fact that he's still being viewed as a head coach, a head coaching option for other teams, you know, and it was just his time to leave the Lakers. I mean, it's a rough thing to see. I would have liked to maybe see him do better, but there was just too many bad things he did in a row. He was not good. For the Lakers, especially this year, and I know a lot of people have taken hatred over him, especially this year.
Mm-hmm.
So he is expected to be a head coach somewhere else. Where that will be, we do not know as of yet. But at the moment, we know Lakers were looking to hire Ty Lue as the head coach, but they didn't because Clippers wanted to retain him for the long term. And then they were going to look at head coach Phil Handy, but they didn't because he was fired as well. So some potential names that the Lakers could go after and could sign as their head coach could be Mike Budenholzer, Kenny Atkinson, or even surprise, JJ Redick. I would love to see him get a head coaching job.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how good he's going to be because, sometimes, not in every case, but in most cases, former NBA players as head coaches don't work out as well.
Steve Nash.
AKA Steve
I
Nash.
know that all too well, unfortunately.
But JJ Redick, I would love to see him give it a go. see what he could do. I know, I mean, he knows how it is. He knows how it is on the court. He has a lot of insight to the game because he's been through tough situations. He's been in playoff scenarios. He's been in regular season scenarios. He knows the game very well because of his long NBA career. So I'd be interested in seeing him take a head coaching job coming up. But yeah, I'm gonna turn it back over to
Mhm.
Mr. Deej.
Yeah. I'll talk a little bit about Darvin Ham for a second. I think he was a scapegoat. Okay. I don't think there is a coach on this earth that can coach the Lakers and not receive criticism for it. Okay. 90 and 74. I mean, two play-in victories. I mean, made the playoffs. You have a conference final berth with him. I mean, even though you got swept, in-season title. And all of these would like point to the fact that he's a pretty solid coach. I mean, he was hired in the first place, right? I don't think many people knew who Darvin Ham was until he was, chosen to be the Lakers coach. He's just the scapegoat because, as I said, any coach for this Lakers team is going to receive criticism if you don't win the finals. Okay. The fact that he still got criticism after reaching the conference finals is kind of crazy. Won the in season tournament. Names like Budenholzer and Kenny Atkinson and JJ Redick, literally whatever of them get hired, they're just going to receive criticism, right? Like you said, I think it would be fun to see JJ as a head coach because I like JJ, but I don't know if he has it in him to be a head coach. I really like him as like an analyst and a commentator. So it would be very fun as a non-Lakers fan to see JJ Redick coach an NBA team. Kenny Atkinson would not last a day with LeBron James. And that's not a knock on Kenny Atkinson, okay? Once again, I am all too familiar with him, but he could not last a full season with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, okay? And like I said, that is not a knock on Kenny Atkinson. I just think that's how stars view him, okay? And Kenny Atkinson, I think, is very comfortable with his assistant coaching role on the Warriors that I don't think he's going to leave anytime soon. For those that don't remember, he briefly accepted the Charlotte coaching job and then backed out and said, nah, I'm good. Budenholzer, I mean, if LeBron wants a championship head coach, a pretty solid head coach, a very gritty head coach, I think Budenholzer's the guy. But I don't know where the Lakers are going to go. They went that route trying to get Frank Vogel, and Vogel brought him to a championship, and he still got fired. I mean, I don't agree with that decision either. Once again, the coach is always the scapegoat. So we'll see, but that's kind of my take on it. And I guess Pap, I want you to do this one because he's on your fantasy team. I feel like
I
you
heard. Yeah.
you, you have a little bit more of a connection with this one.
Yeah. Big news coming out of the MLB this past week. Mike Trout just got hurt, and it's not season ending, but it's pretty bad. I
It
mean,
breaks our
it's
hearts.
it's it's it was enough to bring him to tears
Yeah.
in his interview afterwards. He's undergoing surgery. He underwent surgery already this week, and because he tore his meniscus in his left knee, and he's going to stay back in Anaheim. He's going to get rehab. He's going to get the help that he needs. Um, and man, it's just tough to see because he got off to such a good start. Not really batting average wise, but like he was at 10 home runs, and we were doing something we haven't seen. He was doing something we haven't seen Trout do in a long time, which is I haven't seen Trout in a long time steal bases.
Yeah.
It was a good sight to see. I thought he was trending in the right direction, obviously. And then this kind of just comes out of nowhere. Like I said, it's not season ending. We don't know how long it'll be until he returns to baseball action. I don't think it's going to be 6 to 8 weeks. I think it's going to be longer. I know we have that on our doc, but I think it's going to be longer. There's just no update on his return, but I do want to read a little something that he said in his interview afterwards, after getting this news that he's going to be done for a while. He said, "Thank you all for your support and encouragement. The surgery on my knee went well, and I'm now focused on a speedy recovery. Looking forward to getting back out there as soon as possible." it just breaks your heart. I mean,
Hmm.
every year, I know Angels fans do, and honestly, all baseball fans do hope that he can play a full season in good health and just get through a full season. That just hasn't been the case. I mean, he was so good, and he still is really, really good. He just can't get over that hump. He can't play a full season because there's always something in the way, whether that's an injury or something, massive injury, a minor injury that gets in his way that he sidelines him for a few games, or it's a major injury that sidelines him for months. It just he struggles to stay off the injured list, and it's sad to see. You know, the
Yeah.
Angels don't have much going for them. Trout is one of if not their only bright spot in that lineup right now, especially after losing Otani in this offseason.
Hmm.
So again, it's a big blow for them, but not it's not only a big blow for them, it's a big blow for baseball fans as well.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. Sorry, are you done? I was gonna.
no, no, go ahead. You're good.
The thing that sucks is, as you touched on, he was doing so good. And we finally thought like, yo, maybe prime Mike Trout is back. Maybe we're finally gonna get a full year of Mike Trout. I think the last time we got a full year was his MVP year. And that was a couple years. I don't actually know how many years ago that was. But
I don't know either.
yeah,
It had
it's
to been maybe a little past 2010, somewhere around there.
oh, it was like recent, not
Oh, it
that
was
far
recent?
back.
It was recent?
Yeah, it was 2019. Okay, not too recent. What,
Oh,
5 years ago?
2019. See, it
I
feels so far ago because of all the
Mhm.
all the stuff that's happened over the years,
Yeah.
especially COVID and stuff.
Is that his last healthy year? Like
I
fully
I think
healthy?
so. He's been on a very bad stretch, and it doesn't seem like he's getting off that anytime soon.
I need to look this up real quick.
Honestly, he's kind of like DeGrom in recent times because I mean, I guess not. I don't know if how serious it is compared to DeGrom, but like they're both kind of similar in that aspect. Like they're both one of the best when they're healthy,
Mhm.
but they're just when
Yeah.
they're hurt, and you
S-
miss that.
So 2019, right? That was the last time I said he was healthy.
Mhm.
He played 134 games in 2019, okay? 2020, it was the COVID year, 60 games. He played 53 games. All right, that's whatever. But then you go to 2021, somehow he was named an all-star. He played 36 games. 2022 played 119. 2023 last year played 82 games only. And this year before getting hurt only played 29 games. He just like for like the first one, two, three, four, five, six, 7 years of his career, it seems he was totally fine. And it looks like that 2019 was the last real year we got of Mike Trout. And it's funny that the one like last full year we get of him, he wins MVP. So it really goes to show you that Mike Trout is probably still the best player in baseball if he's healthy. But that's the problem. That's the big if he's healthy. And it
Mhm.
sucks too, because if he never was hurt, this man could be flying away with every award every single year and could have potentially gone down as one of the best players in all of baseball history, maybe the best player of all time, who knows. But now he's such a question mark, and we have no idea what to think of him and where to rank him in all time lists because he's so injury prone and we don't
Mhm.
get to see a full year of him. And down the line, it makes us think, is Mike Trout a Hall of Famer? I would put him in the Hall of Fame, but would the voters do it? Because their voting process is so stupid. It's mind boggling. So hopefully Mike Trout gets his act together. And I know he can't control it, but hopefully he gets healthier.
Yeah,
That's all.
yeah. That's all you can hope for. I
Mm-hmm.
hope that he gets healthy. Because you're right. I mean, like he's not just good with the bat. He's really tremendous in the outfield too. He
And
makes
running as well.
and
Yeah.
run. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
when he's fully healthy, I mean, he's him. He does great things, but like he can't stay healthy. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's his issue. We're gonna move on to some really recent news. Something that just happened literally yesterday. Did you wanna
Oh,
introduce
yeah.
that?
I'll
Go
do
ahead.
this one. Sure. I was in bed on my phone and I got this. I feel like this was really out of nowhere. I just want to put this out there. I don't know if like you, Zach, if you saw this coming, but Luis Arias was traded to the. Let me start over. Luis Arias was just traded to the San Diego Padres.
Hmm. I did
That
not
was
see that coming.
yeah,
I did not see
I
that
mean,
coming.
I wasn't on Twitter or X the whole day, so I didn't know that this was even a possibility of happening, especially this early into the season. Normally, you don't see like a big player like that getting traded this early into the year. The Miami Marlins, their return, they got Dylan Head, the number 6 prospect, Woo-Suk Gu, who's a relief pitcher, Jacob Marcy, the number 9 prospect, and Nathan Martorella, the number 13 prospect. Nathan Martorella was in the middle of a game. He was standing on second base when his coach pulled him from the game. And he's looking at his coach like, wait, what? Me? You're talking to me? He thought he did something wrong. He was so confused why he was getting pulled from the game. The coach came over to him. His teammates were giving him hugs and everything. They're like, yo, bro, you just got traded. So this poor kid found out on second base that he was getting traded, and he thought like, yo, why am I getting pulled from the game? It's kind of scary from like a human perspective, right? You're in the middle of a game, you're locked in, and your whole world just changes. You go from San Diego to Miami. And I mean, living situation, that's not that bad at all. San Diego to Miami, two beautiful places. But in terms of a baseball situation, I don't know, not the best. Literally, the Miami Marlins GM or president, I don't know if you saw this, Zach, but he literally came out today and said, like, we're not a playoff team. We're not good enough. Literally today. And we're only a
I
month
did
into the
not see that.
season.
I did
Yeah,
not see that. But you know what? They're
he's not wrong.
tanking. He's not
Yeah.
wrong. They're tanking.
But
This is good. I'll go into my stuff later.
no,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, he's not wrong, but to say it a month into the season's wild. Like, team morale must be at like an all-time low right now. Right? Luis Arias was very good for the Marlins last year. I don't think he's having the best start to the year. You have him in fantasy. You can confirm that or not.
I mean, dude, he just all Luis Ariz does is he gets on base, he hits for average, and he scores runs. That's it.
Hmm.
That's it. That's his game. That's where he excels the most. So, I mean, yeah, that's really all he does, and it's
Hmm.
rough. It's rough
Yeah.
for him.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It honestly makes the trade look a little bit more lopsided now. I mean, what was it? Pablo Lopez for Luis Arias? Twins
Mm.
fleeced, possibly? Looking
Twins did
like
a
it.
good job because Pablo Lopez is going to be good for them for a while.
Hmm. And on the Marlins end, I don't think it's that bad of a trade. I mean, you're tanking. You get at number 6, number 9, and number 13 prospects from the Padres, and the Padres are regarded as having one of the better farm systems in all of baseball. So maybe these guys turns into studs for the Marlins. And I also do want to touch on the fact that AJ Preller, the GM, is not shy in terms of trading for stars. The Padre themselves,
Mm.
recently, within recent years, we wrote down a little bit of a list, just like some notable people. They traded for Juan Soto, Dylan Cease, Josh Hader, Blake Snell, Yu Darvish, Joe Musgrove. They also traded for Fernando Tatis when he was like a little prospect for James Shields back in the day. But that was no one knew what Tatis was going to become. So I didn't even think to include that in this. But it's just interesting. Does it change the outlook of the Padres season? I don't think so. I think it's just another solid bat to add to the team, but I wouldn't say this propels them to championship status, especially when you have the Dodgers in your division and quite possibly the Diamondbacks and the Giants as well. I don't know how they're doing, but the Dodgers alone is tough to beat in that division. So you can go, Zach. Whatever you want to say, go for it.
Okay, well, I'll update you on pretty much everything because I have it in front of me.
Okay.
Pretty much too with the Marlins, you kind of expected this, but I don't know if we expected this maybe now. Maybe I kind of maybe expected this maybe towards the deadline.
Yeah. Hmm.
Um, to trade Arias literally a month into the year, which was crazy,
Yes.
and it was so out of left field too. It didn't even register in my head like, oh, holy shit, like the Padres are actually getting Luis Arias right now. And like you said, we've seen them do it in the past, but you kind of expected the Marlins to do something. Maybe not right now, but in the future. Because I mean, dude, they're 9-25 right now. It's
Yeah.
not getting any better.
Mm-mm.
They got such a rough start to begin the year, to open the year, and that start hasn't change. It just keeps losing and losing and losing. So they are not making the playoffs anytime soon because they
Hmm.
have not been good this year. But in speaking of the Padres, currently their situation is they are 17 and 18.
Hmm.
Now, again, Arias is just going to help be a table setter. That's what he is. He's going to table set. He's going to get on base to be driven in by guys like potentially Bogarts, Machado, Tatis,
Yeah.
Cronenworth, all those guys. That's who that's why they got him, and that's why what they expect him to do. They expect him to get on base. They want him on the team to score more runs. That's why they traded for him. I think it's a good pickup. I don't think I mean, it's still very early to tell, you know, but there are a lot of good teams in the NL, especially if you're not looking at a division win and you're looking towards a wild card push. There's a lot of good teams, but to interject on your saying with the Giants and the Diamondbacks being two teams that are good, they've been pretty shaky to start off the year as well. The Giants are 15 and 18, and the Diamondbacks are actually below the Giants,
Ooh.
14 and 19. And I expected the Diamondbacks to be a very sneaky good team, but
Yeah.
a part of that struggle is because a lot of the guys they have on their team right now haven't gotten off to a pretty good start. I mean, Corbin Carroll is struggling a lot
Yeah.
right now.
A
I
sophomore
know, I
slump.
know that for sure. Yep, sophomore slump couldn't
Yeah.
say it any better. I do fully expect him to pull out of it. I do fully expect him to
Oh,
come
yeah.
come back to come back to life a bit. But a lot of those teams are struggling, but there are a lot of teams that are going to be in contention for that wild card spot. You got teams. I just looking through, doing a quick glance through. You got teams like the Reds. Reds are always going to be there. Reds are a sneaky good team. Cubs are a really great team. I know we didn't expect the Brewers to be in first place.
Yeah,
Now,
who'd have
I don't
thought?
know who's going to win that division this year because the NL Central is always a toss-up. I think the Central Division in both American and National League are both toss-ups every year, but
Hmm.
even now, I mean like the Brewers are leading that division with a record of 20 and 12
Yeah, that,
and nobody expected that. I mean, we even did a video. We even did a video saying that they have literally nothing, especially after all the drama, all they did to get rid of Corbin Burns, and they still have yet to shock us. I mean, baseball's a funny game. They shocked us as we sit today. I don't know how long it could continue, and if it continues, I mean, kudos to them.
mhm.
20 and 12 right now. Can't dream up a better start for them.
No, yeah.
But that also contributes to a lot of people, a lot of the younger guys like Jackson Churios. I was going to say Holiday, Jackson
Yeah.
Churios. Um, he's been playing great. A lot of rookies have come up for them. And you know what? They're doing all this to 20 and 12 without Devin Williams, which
That
is
is
which
true.
is kind of amazing. But you got those three teams, the Reds, the Cubs, and Brewers will be in the mix all year round. And Pirates are a fun team. Cardinals, I don't know if they'll be in contention. I don't think they will. We'll see though. So technically maybe any one of those teams, but then again, it's really just the top three: Brewers, Cubs, Reds, and then you got obviously like we said, the Giants and the Diamondbacks lurking, and then you go to the National League East, and we got. I mean, you got a dogfight right now with the Phillies and Braves for first
Yeah.
place. The Mets are not there.
No.
The Mets are not there. They'd be lucky if they make the wild card. Let's be real.
Okay.
That's coming from a Mets fan. But they've been having a pretty decent year so far. You know, they've been doing all right. Nationals are kind of creeping a little bit around. They're 16 and 17. But the Phillies and Braves, I mean, one of them is making the wild card. One of those teams
Yeah.
is making the wild card for sure.
100%.
Phillies 22 and 11 are in first place. a half game out is the Braves, 20-10. So again, a lot of I don't know, a lot of question marks in that division to make wild card, and I don't know if this puts the Padres over the top. I don't know if getting Arias puts Padres over the top. But
Yeah.
you know what? I guess only time will tell. Maybe they'll bounce back. I do think the Padres did get better. Can't say they got worse. They did get
Yeah.
better. And we'll see how they fare in the next coming months up
Yes.
till All-Star break.
Hmm.
And we will give you updates
We will.
on their progress. But
Hmm.
with that being said, I do want to move on really quickly to our last topic of the day. Now, it is really, really early. And in fact, it's super early and it's only preseason for the WNBA. But it's good to mention that Caitlin Clark had a great first debut in her WNBA season. Start of her career. 21 points, 5 from 13 from 3, 6 for 15 from the field. She got a couple boards, 3 rebounds, 2 steals, and yeah, she had a really good debut, but I don't want to butcher this. I want you to talk about this.
Yeah.
Continue on with this segment, Matt. Let us know about Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, so first off, a lot of casuals out there were saying that Caitlin Clark was not going to be good and that the moves she was doing against college opponents were not going to work against professional athletes. Yeah, those people are stupid. They're wrong. Clearly, what she does in college is the reason why she was chosen number one overall. The Fever had faith in her. She was out there balling. It's really interesting, too, that Caitlin Clark, she shot 5 for 13 from three, but she took 15 shots from the field. So the majority of her shots are 3 pointers. But at the end of the day, if you get the ball in her hands, she's going to make shots. I think, I'm even trying to think. I don't think there's anyone on this planet that I would have more faith in to make a shot than Caitlin Clark. Like that's some bold take,
That's a
but
bold take. That is a
that's
bold take.
that's a bold take. Like I want Iguodala. Yeah, I want Caitlin Clark. That's what I want. Okay, she's tough. Anyone that say that they don't like women's sports for like in general is just an idiot. The WNBA is going to be so much fun to watch this season. Caitlin Clark, Cameron Brink, Cardoso, Angel Reese, Nika Mule, all those people are going to be so much fun to watch, and the Fever are going to be a hot commodity this year. Now, they did lose 76 to 79, but that's not really her fault. She made some really great plays and passes, but her teammates dropped the passes and missed like wide open layups. And some of the teammates, they even came out and said, like, yo, we need some time adjusting to Caitlin's pace of play. That's not a knock on her. It's just Caitlin likes to play very fast. She likes to move the ball, get everyone involved. So it's just a chemistry thing. They haven't really played with each other much outside of practice. So first real game, first real, professional setting where they're all playing together. Over time, they're going to be great. She's going to be phenomenal. I hope nothing but the best for her because she's going to revolutionize the game of basketball for women's sports specifically. Because here on in the NBA side, you have a generational prospect in Wembenyama. And then here on the WNBA side, you have Caitlin Clark. Those two growing side by side as, these young rookies is going to be so much fun. And I think the sport of basketball is in great hands. Caitlin Clark, keep balling, keep doing what you're doing, and lead the Fever to a championship. Lead the Fever to a championship. Overall, great debut, though, from Caitlin Clark. Hopefully, she keeps doubting the haters. It's my take.
Yeah, I couldn't think of a better way to end the podcast right
Yeah.
there. I
Very
don't think there's
positive.
any
Yeah.
more that needs to be said on Caitlin Clark. Again, we wish her the best of luck in the future. Both WNBA and the NBA are in very good hands with their rookies and their future. So we will catch you guys in the next episode next week. We're getting back on a regular schedule.
Yes.
Um, and yeah, episode 21 is coming out next week. We'll catch you guys next time.